Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 769 for the 2nd of April. And we're going to start off with the frontline changes report as usual, and there is quite a number of frontline changes. The first one is over at Ivanivske in the Bakhmut Front. So this is Bakhmut city, and at Ivanivske, which is over here, in the southwestern part of Bakhmut city, there is a few frontline changes. So firstly, the Ukrainian mapping have acknowledged that the Russians have taken the southern part of Ivanivske. So this actually corroborates the Russian claims that the Russians have taken at least the southern part. And we have a geolocation of Russian forces at the western edge of Ivanivske, which actually confirms Russian presence on the western part, which means that the center part, this area here in between these two is likely to be under Russian control as well, which confirms that the Russians have taken the entire south and western part of Ivanivske. The only part that is currently still cannot be verified to be under Russian control is this northwestern part of Ivanivske, because previously we have geolocation of Ukrainian forces within this area here. So until we have a corroboration through video footages or something, to confirm, or through mapping, for example, Ukrainian mapping acknowledging that they have lost this northern part of Ivanivske, then we cannot confirm that Russia have actually captured the entire of Ivanivske. Just for those that are not aware, the Russian Defense Ministry actually claimed that they have captured Ivanivske on the 23rd of March. But until now, we still cannot confirm this information after 1 week plus. So this is important to note that no one's words can be trusted. Neither the Ukrainian Defense Ministry or the Russian Defense Ministry. The only most way to understand whether something had actually happened or not is through corroboration from both sides. That means Russia say something, Ukraine acknowledge it, or Ukraine say something, Russia acknowledge it, and be it through the official channels or be it through open source intelligence. So this is just principle. So that's all from the Ivanivske. So we move on to the next frontline change. It's over at the Avdiivka Front. So there is multiple changes at the Avdiivka Front. So this is Avdiivka city. For I'll zoom out a bit. Just now we were here at the Bakhmut Front. This is Donetsk city, and north of Donetsk city is Avdiivka city, and this is the Avdiivka Front. And there is frontline changes at Vodyane, at Tonenke, Umanske, as well as Povomaisky, Vodyane. So we go on from the Vodyane region first. This one is actually based on Russian claims. This is not acknowledged just yet. There is Russian mapping claiming that this area here is now under Russian control. This area is the capture. And I'm not sure if this is related to the previous reports of the grad shelling that was, I feel, misclaim. So there was this in the yesterday's SITREP. I'm not sure if you watched it. So there was the geolocation of a claim that there's some rocket shelling in this position, and it was claimed to be Ukrainian shelling of Russian troops, but is unlikely because the Ukrainians don't really have much grad rockets launchers left. At least they do have the ammunition left. So it's most likely Ukrainians that is actually getting shelled. And then we have the Russian mapping claiming that they have captured the entire area, the entire western part of the Vodyane as well as the central part of Vodyane. So we shall see how this progress, because this is turning into the turtle, and this turtle is very happy. So we shall see how this progress. I have my doubts whether the Russians actually captured most of Vodyane. I did see Russian pro-Russian sources or pro-Russian channels on X celebrating this, pretty happy about it. We shall see how this goes. And other frontline change, we go south, is over at Tonenke, Umanske. So based on Russian mapping, the Russians have claimed, or at least the pro-Russian sources has claimed that they have captured another tree line, moving the front line further west of Tonenke. And so if I zoom out a bit, you probably see the bigger picture better. This Tonenke, so there's this progress in the west. And there is also further geolocation of Russian forces getting closer and closer to Umanske. This time round, it moved this way up. And this actually corroborates validates the previous geolocation that I wasn't very keen on acknowledging as a capture, but with this one, I have to acknowledge that most likely the Russians have captured this area here. So the Russian forces previously have captured this area here, and looks like the forces was able to continue to progress northward. So despite there's a possibility of Russian forces losing quite a number of armored vehicles, it seems like the bulk of the force, this armored fist is too strong, too big for the Ukrainians to eject, and then the Russians managed to go on. Whether they can keep a foothold in this area here is another story altogether. We will continue to wait to see whether the front line holds. Because if the Russians are unable to hold position, then all these capture will be in vain, and the troops are just going into a kill zone for nothing. And we move on to the next frontline change. It's just further south. So in the southern part, the Ukrainian mapping have confirmed that the entire Vodyane has been captured by Russian forces, and in fact they have also expanded. So this area here is now acknowledged by the Ukrainian side, and they have also expanded the front line, the buffer zone in the north of Vodyane, moving up north, creating some buffer zone. For info, this is half a kilometer in terms of buffer, and this move is actually 700 meters. So I saw some comments is like hilarious, because they say that the front line change, why am I reporting a few meters of change? People didn't realize how small these houses is. It's like, this is, it might look like a small arrow, but it's actually pretty far. Tell you to run 1 kilometer, some of you guys may actually pant, may actually struggle to run that, because you guys spend too much time in front of YouTube. Okay, anyway, yeah, sorry. Please press the like button, don't press dislike. Anyway, there's also Ukrainian mapping acknowledging that the Russians have indeed reached the center of Umanske, and this coming together makes a lot of sense with the changes in the north, showing that the Russians are indeed making this combined attack, and they have basically joined up. So we will continue to monitor. The Russian forces likely to then push southward from Vodyane towards the western point, and then create an encirclement, or at least a pincer attack to capture the rest of Umanske. So, and the last frontline change is over at Robotyne. And so Robotyne is actually at the Zaporizhzhia Front. So this is Zaporizhzhia city, and this is the Zaporizhzhia Front, this area here. And at the Orikhiv sector, the Ukrainian mapping now shows that the Ukrainians have recaptured most of Robotyne. So very interesting that the Ukrainian forces have taken most of this back. This is currently still under Ukrainian claims. I do see that the Russian mapping do acknowledge some parts, particularly over in the western part of Robotyne, but it was always a gray zone. So looking at this is very interesting. I'm not sure it's like a Ukrainian. It's more like they acknowledge that the Russians have punched through the center, rather than the Ukrainians have retaken the sides, the flanks. So do note that the Ukrainians have always put this as a gray zone previously, and it is now that they put it back into blue, except for the center part. So we can interpret whichever way we prefer, but I think that is probably a Ukrainian counterattack that have worked out and taken much grounds around this area, and the Russians are unable to hold, because most of these buildings are basically flattened. All these are just not really defensive positions. So except for these tree lines, there are some trenches around this area here. However, Ukrainians seem to claim that they have captured this heavy entrenchment in the southwestern part of Robotyne. So we will continue to monitor. And sorry for the WhatsApp notification. So that's all for the frontline changes report. Am I talking too fast? I have no idea. So we move to the strategy and tactical reporting, and do let me know a feedback. If this camera now, the frame is now very big. Show my face very big. If it's okay, because the reality is actually that I'm actually just covering the part that is actually you can't see the map. So I might as well just cover it. It's basically just that. So so you can see my handsome face. And Moving into the Kherson Front, at the Kherson Front, do press the like button, subscribe, because the Ukrainians, continue to entertain you by sending troops and continue to fight at Krinky. So, the very least you can do is to press the subscribe button. And according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, Russian forces attacked Krinky again. So they're attacking Krinky again in one single attack. We're not sure what is the news. What is the reality on the ground? So could it be just 7 soldiers fighting 3 soldiers? I have no freaking idea. So we will continue to wait for more information about Krinky. And that's all for the Kherson Front. Very quiet. We move into the Zaporizhzhia Front. So this Zaporizhzhia city, at the Zaporizhzhia Front, at the Orikhiv sector, we have some actions. So Russian forces attack Novoandrievka as well as Robotyne and northwest of Verbove. Information for Robotyne and northwest of Verbove is by Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Russian Defense Ministry actually reported fire attack. They say inflicted fire damage. So it's not an assault. They didn't change the front line. They didn't capture more ground. It's basically more like they are, wrong color, bombarding Ukrainian forces over at these two locations, Novoandrievka as well as Robotyne. So we will continue to monitor. I don't think much about this. And there is also geolocation at Malatomashka of a FPV drone hitting a Ukrainian tank just south of Malatomashka. The fighting here is going to be continuingly difficult and very slow in progress because the entire area here is just heavily fortified. This just full of trenches and fortification mines and whatnot. So this is a heavily entrenched front line now. So don't expect any massive breakthrough right now because the window of breaking through is over. The Ukrainians previously got routed, but the Russians did not manage to capture due to very clever remote mining by Ukrainian forces, causing the entire assault to be grinded to a halt. Over at the Huaypole sector or Huaypo sector, is it pronounced Guaypole or Guaypole? Actually, I'm not too sure. Should be Guaypole. So anyway, at the Zalishny, there is M777 artillery getting hit by counter artillery fire, so that destroyed another fire support for the Ukrainians. So that's all for the Huaypole sector and the Zaporizhzhia Front. At the Donetsk Front, at the Velika Novosilka sector, the Russian forces continue the attack, and reports of fighting at Makarivka, Staromayoske, and Urzhane has been reported. Information coming from Russian Defense Ministry and Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So that's all for this area. There is a Lancet attack on the artillery gun just east of Novosilka. So that happened. So that's all for this area. The Russian forces continue to attack. It's interesting that the Russians continue to talk about Makarivka. So it looks like there is some deliberate push in this direction. So let me zoom in a bit. So Makarivka, there is some push in this direction from the southwest of Makarivka. I believe this is currently happening, which is why we are seeing this this report of Makarivka. So Makarivka is a pretty new phenomena. We haven't seen Makarivka all the while until pretty recently, I would say, around 23rd of March. The previous report was very one-off. It's probably fire attack. And on the 23rd, 25th, 29th, now the 2nd of April, it seems like there is a push, a slow push moving towards Makarivka. Moving on to the rest of the Donetsk Front, at the Voleda sector, Ukrainian forces was reportedly attacking Mikhailsky. Information coming from the Russian Defense Ministry. I forgot to put the link. Oops. And so that's all for this area. And we move into the Marinka sector. The Russian forces are attacking Krasnohorivka, as well as continue their battle of Novomikhailivka. Ukrainian forces counterattack at Novomikhailivka, and there is a bombardment reported by the Russian Defense Ministry at Antonivka. So that's about it. This area, there's not much information regarding this area. There's actually some information, but it doesn't change the front line. Russian forces are currently pushing into the Dacha region in the north, whereas they are also pushing in the center of the city. But by saying this, it almost sounds like I didn't say anything. So because but the Ryba did write a very long ass report on this thing, but basically a lot of details, but basically on the map it just looks simply like this. So that's all we know, and that's all for the Donetsk Front. We move into the Avdiivka Front. So this is Avdiivka city. At the Avdiivka Front, Russian forces continue their April's full offensive, with fighting reported at Vodyane, Siversk, towards Umanske in the area in the west of Donetsk, Pervomayske. Ukrainian forces counterattack at Pervomayske towards Donetsk, as well as Vodyane. So you can see that the Russians are pretty much on the initiative. They are hitting on many fronts. Oh yeah, and also at Niu-York. I missed out the Niu-York one. So as per report, at the Frontline changes report, there is some significant changes. As per the Russians have taken the entire central part of Pervomayske. This is now acknowledged by the Ukrainian side, and the capture of this area here. I think I need to put this into Russian forces captured Vodyane. Yeah, this should be the headline. So this is a 2nd of April. Oops, this is the wrong. I didn't save this. Copy. Yep, and then flagged it red. So Russian forces captured Vodyane. This is now confirmed by Ukrainian side. So we have our acknowledgement because the claim was on the 31st of March. So it took around 31st, 2, so around 2 days, 2 to 3 days for the Ukrainian side to acknowledge this capture. And the Russian forces is now going to push northward. And I believe that they're going to hit south from the western point to do a pincer on the Ukrainian forces at Pervomayske. So if I zoom in a bit, you'll probably see this pretty clearly. The Ukrainian forces are holding the front line around here and along these buildings. The likelihood is that the Russians, while they are pushing within Pervomayske, the another force is going to hit from the rear position, drawing Ukrainian attention into this western part or northwestern part of Pervomayske. And with this distraction, the Russian forces can continue to push through and take the rest of Pervomayske, forcing a Ukrainian retreat. So this is what I think is likely to going to happen. It only makes sense for the Russians to hit this way rather than give the Ukrainians a break. So of course, Ukrainian forces at Netelove is now going to be the next front line. They will likely to send more forces to hold off a potential Russian breakout from this area here, because this is going to be quite a problem for the Ukrainians to deal with if the Russians manage to take the whole of Pervomayske. Moving to the north, the Russian forces continue to punch towards Umanske with their latest geolocation really close to Umanske. It is merely how many? 1 kilometer? 1 kilometer. Around 1 kilometer from Umanske. The front line is now super close to Umanske, and the Russian forces continue to push westward from Donetsk and moving in the direction of Yano-Brodivka. So you probably cannot see Yano-Brodivka. So Yano-Brodivka. So this is currently the situation. So we shall continue to monitor and see. Let me reduce the background so you can. Oops, I used the wrong one. So yeah, like this. No, probably you can see the map a bit. Just now it was covered. I didn't know if I covered anything else that I was talking earlier. So so that's all for this Donetsk Umanske region. The Ukrainian forces was reportedly counterattacking at Donetsk, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. I'm not sure if the attack comes from this direction, or is it coming from the south, or it's from the west, is unclear. We're not too sure. So we will wait for more information. So, and over at the north, in the Vodyane region, this is the Russian claims. So we're not sure, how accurate is this. I have my doubts. I feel like this feels not accurate enough, but we will wait and see whether this can be corroborated by Ukrainian side or by the by any geolocation. I actually don't like this coverage. Let me pull this. I'm very distracted. Sorry. I want to see more of my face. I want you to see more of my face. Yeah. So that's all for the Avdiivka Front. At the Niu-York Front, there is still battles around this area with Ukrainian attacking in the area of New-York, and that's about it. We move on to the Bakhmut Front. At the southern flank, the Russian forces are attacking Klishchiivka and Zhuevka, and nothing much to talk about. Over at this northern flank, Russian forces are attacking towards Chasiv still, and they are fighting in the area of Ivanivske. Ukrainian forces counterattack at Vodyane. There is a Mi-24, a Hind, Ukrainian attack helicopter that was shot down near Chasiv, as per claim by military summary. I have no idea. I haven't seen any of this footage yet. So, but anyway, that's the location marked by military summary. Ukrainian forces is geolocated in Vodyane, showing that the Ukrainian presence is still over at this area here. At Ivanivske itself, Russian claims that they have captured Ivanivske on the 23rd of March, but this cannot be corroborated just yet. We only have this geolocation on the western part of Ivanivske, only the past 24 hours. Ukrainian mapping confirms on the southern part. So this looks suspicious, but I know yeah, I'm seeing things, but no. Anyway, the Ukrainian forces probably still hold this area here in the northwestern part of Ivanivske. We'll wait and see how this progress. And yeah, so we shall wait and see. I don't want to crack some dirty jokes. I saw something, but anyway, moving on to the Siversk Front. I mean, as in the trenches are very dirty. You know, they don't mop it and they don't sweep it. No, it's full of mud. And over at Siversk Front, Russian forces are attacking over at Bilohorivka as well as Perny. So that's all. The attack at Ivanivske was not repeated, not mentioned. The Rosalivka, Vasily, you know, everything is quiet now, which means that the Ukrainian lines are very strong, or the Russians are just doing probing, and we shall see how this progress. Over at Kreminna Front, Yompolivka went quiet again. Fighting is only reported at Terny again, with both sides claiming that they are the one defending. That's all from Kreminna. Moving on, Siversk Front, we have nothing. We're over at the Kupyansk Front. At the Kupyansk Front, Russian forces are attacking Sinkivka like forever. No, it's a scam, and there's nothing else over here. And moving to the border region, there is two geolocation. Russian airstrike at Vodyane, according to military summaries geolocation, as well as another geolocation by military summary of Russian artillery at Kozacha Lopan. So that's all we have for the border regions. So, and that's it. So this is the summary for the day of 769 for the 2nd of April. Press the like button, subscribe, and yeah, and check out yesterday's video if you haven't watched it, or the day before, especially the April Fool one. You know, the April Fool's Day one is pretty funny. The 2 SITREP ago, you should watch it if you haven't watched it, and I'll see you guys in the next update.